to license the...
Meep, meep.
Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today are a whole bunch of Tonka toys. I've got to pick one of them for this build. The three in the middle are basically the same model in various degrees of brokenness and missing bits, and this one in my hand would be my first choice because it brings back the most childhood memories for me, but I fear others participating in this build-off may go for that standard look. So this one that is so ugly that it's cute is the one I'm leaning towards. And there's something that really catches my eye here. Look closely on these door stickers. Tonka Toronto, Canada. The choice is made for the open bed pickup truck. It's a little larger scale, but that's the one that I'm going to do. This is my entry in a special birthday invitational sponsored by the Diecast Sheriff. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description so you can watch his excellent videos and also find a recap with all of the other participants in this Tonka build-off. Keep an eye out on my channel for these other upcoming builds in the next few weeks. There's always going to be regularly updated content. In disassembling this car, I had to go to war with the single rivet on the back tailgate of this, and eventually the all-plastic lower piece that I'm holding dropped out the bottom. Large set of wheels and heavy axles on here. It's pretty basic content, not a lot of detail involved in this one. And I'll try to describe to you what my intent is here. Basically, this is a piece of folded sheet metal, and you can see all of the seams, and actually some jagged edges, held together with rivets in different places. I'm going to try to smooth over all of these gaps, closing up the back tailgate, of course, and everywhere you see an open seam on these corners, I'm going to fill them in, at least as best I can. This truck is too big to dunk into my paint stripping gel tub, so in this case I'm just applying it with an old paintbrush that I don't need anymore. And while the chemicals do their work, I'm going to wash the very few plastic bits, just for sanitary reasons, and so that the primer and paint will adhere a little bit better. And the old popcorn tub is just filled with hot soapy water here. I'm going to retain and use these original Tonka wheels because they've got raised lettering on them. And as is most often the case, I'll give some special attention to the plastic windshield right now. It's not in terrible condition, but there are some scratches and fogginess on there, so beginning with a 2000 grit wet dry sandpaper, I give it a light application, does not require very much pressure at all, and I move up to 3000, and today that's more than enough to just bring it back to a nice original shine and glossiness. Pledge Revive It is a clear floor polish that hobbyists have discovered as an essential treatment for their plastic windshields. I found that tip out way back when I began this hobby in March, and I have continued to do that. It really does make it look brand new. But you must cover it up or every little bit of dust particle in the room will land on that and dry. You see some rust and some pitting on these heavy aluminum tubing axles, and there's many ways to remove these, but one day I put on a hat and some dark sunglasses and I went into the beauty aisle in the grocery store and I got some fingernail files, and I find that that takes it right down to a clean looking bare metal. The original Tonka paint was no match for the paint stripping gel today. It comes off quite easily, but it was not a 100% removal, and so that required quite a bit of picking with my dental tool. As you can see, a lot of residual paint on there. The wire wheel attachment on the Dremel takes care of much of that. There are the remnants of one of the door stickers. And there really was substantial time given to this part of the process. I followed that up with some superfine steel wool, and pretty soon it's all back to bare metal and ready for the biggest part of this project. I'm not going to reinstall a rivet, so I used some 2-part epoxy and put a vise on it and leave it overnight. Actually, I made some adjustments and I discovered I had to open it up just slightly like this in order for the bottom plastic piece to fit back in from underneath. So I'm going to need to fill in that gap, and as explained earlier, all of these corner gaps where the sheet metal has simply been folded. It actually looks a little dangerous. I'm going to try to blend this edge on the front also. So I mix up a good amount of JB Weld. And I use some plastic modeling tools to put this on as carefully and neatly as possible, but trust me when I tell you, in short order, everything including me was covered with JB Weld. And of course, you leave it overnight to set, and the next day was filing and sandpapering and spot putty and primer and repeat all of those steps. There was a full day in this step, but look how nicely it has covered up all of those gaps. I'm going with Tonka yellow, pretty close to the original, and you can see a little bit of the spot putty on the back, but this is just the first coat, and I'm going to apply 2 or 3 layers and a wet coat on here. Trust me when I tell you that'll be invisible when it's all done. Tonka is an American producer of toy trucks known for making steel toy models of construction-type trucks and machinery. Maisto International, which makes die-cast vehicles, acquired the rights to use the Tonka name in a line of 1 to 64 scale cars featuring mostly trucks. The Mound Metalcraft Company merged with the Streeter Company in the late 1940s with the intent of making metal toys. After some modifications to their original and singular truck design by Alvin Tesh and the addition of a new logo created by Erling Eklof, the company went into production. Personally, as a child, I was much more of a Tonka boy than Hot Wheels, so this build has some special childhood memories for me, which is one of the big reasons why I got into this hobby. It's the nostalgia angle. going to fire up my new 3D printer again for this build, and in this case I actually went to Tinkercad and designed a roll cage for the truck bed behind the cab, and this is what it looks like after it's put into the 3D printer software. And I had good success today with my add-on accessories. The casting design of this particular Tonka open bed pickup lends itself well to this idea. I thought I would use some coffee stirring sticks and make a real wood bed liner here, because although I painted some gloss paint in here, it's a little hard to tell. There are actually raised ridges which will separate these. And I thought that gave a nice effect of realism to my pickup truck. They're securely in there just with some white glue. I also printed a couple of air compressors because I've got a whole pickup bed to fill up, and I thought maybe on this particular day somebody is delivering or servicing some equipment to a machine shop. So a little bit of detail painting on here. What do you think? The large Tonka logo was not part of the original design on this truck, but it's going to show off very sharply against the yellow background, so I'm going to apply it to my newly filled in, filed down and smoothed out tailgate, and apply the door logos as well. This logo was based on a University of Minnesota drafting student sketch by Donald B. Olson, who later became the company's chief industrial engineer. The logo used the Dakota Sioux word Tonka, which means great or big. If you remember the film Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner, Tatonka was the word for great prairie buffalo. In November 1955, Mound Metalcraft changed its name to Tonka Toys Incorporated. The logo at this time was an oval, showing the Tonka Toys name in red above waves, presumably honoring nearby Lake Minnetonka. Here's my finished effort. You can see that the gaps have been nicely filled in and smoothed over and painted with no sign of folded sheet metal anymore. There are my add-on accessories in the real wood-laid truck bed. I even put a little maple leaf logo on the very bottom. I'm quite happy with how this one turned out. As I said at the beginning, it's so ugly, it's cute. But I thought it had great potential, and you tell me if we realized it here with the finished product, brilliant logos on the yellow paint job, 3D printed accessories in the bed, original wheels, and I went with some dark accents this time to stand out. Happy birthday, Sheriff. I hope you enjoy this day and all of the builds that were done in honor of your special day. Thanks for visiting my channel today, everyone. Give this video a thumbs up, won't you? It's coffee time.